Welcome, y'all, to the King Moolah TV podcast. I'm your host, King, and this is the ninth episode, man. I am here. I'm here to do this. This is going to be probably the most, speaking to pretty much everybody here on what they're doing on Earth. It can tie into your purpose, but it really ties into what you're passionate about, what you really want to do on this earth. And that usually does come with purpose, but sometimes it can like start off, but sometimes you know what? I'm not even gonna say it. All right, so I definitely want to start off by saying this: everybody works to live. Some people work for money, but everybody works to live. Okay. Some people want to work for money and only think about collecting money, and then they live to pay bills. Some people live to pay bills and never to do anything else. You know, some people live for their job, some people live for their career. You know, some of those things is all right, like for your career perspective, you're in a good place and you like being there, but there's such a thing as too much, like something you would call a workaholic, this, that, and the other. But yeah, the baseline for everybody is to work to live, not work to pay bills, not work to make money. It's to work to live, okay? Depending on how you live is depending on the job and your lifestyle, situation, culture, upbringing, however, or just your autonomous, independent choice. Okay. But all of that other stuff that I just mentioned is usually is a part of it. All right, so the best route is what this episode is. So everybody has a choice. Based off what you just heard, everybody has a choice to make. Everybody has choices to make that mainly deals with how you want to live your life. And some choices are going to be good, some choices may not be good, but at the end of the day, you're gotta make a choice. Even if you think there is no choice, a choice has been made. So if you feel like there is no choice to make, all choices are not ultimatums. They're not, choices could be big or small depending on how much you prioritize them. But since we're talking about the best route, and I'm mainly focusing on the best route for you to take based on your entire lifespan. So yeah, it's going to go towards purpose, your passion towards things. Like, what are you here to do on earth? What are you here to do now that you're here? There's a bunch of people that did not make it. There's a bunch of people that did not make it here. You were the one that came out of a huge pool of people, and I'm talking about in the the, what do they call it, the process of being in your mother's womb, conception, after conception, there's the word, thank you. You're welcome. After conception, so you made it out of the an unconceivable number of beings that could have been here, but you're here. So now that you're here, what are you going to do about it? Okay, you have a choice to make. You got choices that you've made ever since ever since you came out of the womb. Okay, even if they were unconscious, you still made those choices. Okay, now that you're conscious enough to see that you can make your choices, you should be making choices that are aligned with your lifestyle. So, like, what choices are good for you? Now, I know everybody's not going to make the best choice. That's obviously, that comes with human. That comes with being human. Trial and error. That's what we're here. trial and error, because nobody got it right the first time. Even if you seen things that seemed perfect on the outside, it took somebody about 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, even 1,000,000 tries to get it right. And it probably just not even one person. It can go through multiple people until that finished product or finished idea or concept has came into fruition for us to use for utilize in our everyday life, or maybe sometimes in a blue moon, or however often or frequent that we so choose based on whatever it is. So that comes with inventions, human inventions, the industrial revolution, this, that, and the other, war and all of that. That's all of that came from choices. So, but we want to focus on the individualistic nature of choices, not more so the grand scheme of things, because that can come in a different episode. Choices are like, you know, everybody got choices. And honestly, there is no right or wrong choice. Like, there's no such thing as right or wrong. Yes, and I'll get into that some other time about what's right or wrong choices. That definitely should be an episode. Right or wrong choices. We're not here for that. We're here to make the best choice for us. And we don't know what that could be, because everybody has a different type of lifestyle, slightly different expressions. So we just got to understand, what are we trying to do here on earth? Are we trying to have a good time? Are we trying to help? Are we trying to inspire? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, if you're here to just make noise and disrupt people's lives and harm, this ain't the podcast for you. We don't do that over here. We don't do that over here. There's no encouragement of that. Okay, we're here to make society better. Over here, I'm talking about making society better. So what are we doing to make society better? What are you doing to make your life better? I did say I wasn't going to go to the grand scheme of making society better, but individualistically, it ties into, if everybody was making better choices for ourselves, it would technically just pretty much be a domino effect to helping the greater good of the world. And pretty much our individualistic choices do help the greater good of the world, not just us personally. And honestly, you know what? Never mind. Scratch that. I definitely want to get into that, because that's the whole point. Um, for the greater good of humanity. That's really what it is. I'm just playing. I'm not gonna scratch that. I'm gonna just do it. Stay true to what I said. When you see, this is the choice that I made. I'm making a choice live right now as I'm recording this. I wanted to go. I said I wasn't gonna go with going into the greater good of things of society, but then here I did. I did switch my mind for a second, but then I realized, see, that wasn't a bad choice. And there was no right or wrong answer. I mean, there's nothing bad about switching to it, but I try to stick with my first choice. I try to follow through, because if you really want to do something, you should follow through with that initially with your heart, even if it gets rocky, even if you feel like you want to turn back. That's the thing about choices. You always want to seem like, it always seems initially like a good choice until you actually get into the heat of things, and then you're kind of slightly wanting to regret it, or slightly wanting to go to the other choice. And it's okay, but you got to realize, like, if all you ever do is switch your choices, you're never really experiencing fully what the outcome of that choice would have been. You just kind of just a little bit in the hot seat, and you just felt like you got burned. Well, you haven't even gotten burned for real. You just sat down and it's just hot, and then, oh, you want to get up and go to the other seat. I'm gonna just tell you, the other seat is hot as well. I'm just tell you that the other seat is hot as well. So, like, that's what it is, choices. So I'm gonna follow through with my first choice and saying I'm only gonna keep it towards individualistic instead of trying to tie it to the greater good of humanity. I might just say it here and there, but I'm not gonna go do a deep dive, switch it all the way into the greater good of humanity. There can be an episode for that, but it's just not going to be this episode. So for the greater good of humanity, we're going to keep that out for the most part right now. For this episode. So, like, what is the best choice for you? Like I said, if you choose something, you should follow through with it. I know a lot of times there has been a lot of times in my life where I've had big decisions. I mean, this comes down to the big decisions of your life, but also small decisions can play a pivotal role in how your life can go. It can even the smallest of decisions can majorly affect your life. I know the big decisions generally are what? School, family, um after school, which means, I mean, after graduating, if you get there, college, you know, um, dating, if you don't do that in between high school and stuff like that, um, you know, marriage. Those are like the biggest things that is generally put out there. Getting a career, that's also one of them. So those, and it's mainly, let me just keep it to the main big three, which is school, family, which does include marriage, um, and career. Because you go to school to get you used to be able to go to school to get a nice job, and then you really wouldn't have to go to college that much, or college was just really low. Um, you got family, which is working on your own family, your intermediate family, or seeking out to create a family of your own. That which would typically kind of include marriage, if not marriage, then a long partnership or co-parenting, or however your situation is. And lastly, your career, how you want your work lifestyle to be, with an occupation, pretty much. But yeah, it's just these are the three big choices that we're usually told are the biggest choices of our lives, and it's true to an extent. But not everybody's life is centered around those big three. There's other ways to have a great life without involving any of those. But I know everybody goes to school, like a huge population of us. Like, I know there's some people who don't traditionally go to school, and there are cultures and this, that, and the other for that. But majority of people on this planet go to school, whether it's private, public, homeschool, or wherever else in between. Everybody goes to school. Everybody's supposed to get an education. Everybody's supposed to learn. So the choice for that is, what do you want to do? And usually, most people do graduate. So the big thing after that would be like, what is the best choice for you after high school? You know, or whatever they call it in any other countries. I'm not really sure, but originally I'm in the U.S. of A, so we call it high school. So that's ninth grade to 12th grade. After your 12th grade, your senior year, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to go to the workforce? Do you want to go to um do you want to start do you want to go to school or college, or do you want to do your own thing, outside of those two? I know you can probably go to the military as well, but I mean, yeah, that's your life. Like, what do you want to choose? Like, what do you want to choose? And after you've made that choice, you got to follow through. So whatever the requirement is of staying in there, um, just follow. You should follow through. So it's a big decision. I know it's probably going to be one of the most anxious and most nerve wracking thing you've ever done in your life, and that's what big decisions are. So whatever you want to do in your life, you just make sure you make the right choice that you feel like you would get the most out of it. And after you make that choice, it's usually something you have to work towards getting. So, like, let's say you go to college, you want to get your bachelor's degree. Now you got to put in the work. But first, putting in the work goes in hand with having faith that will all come through, will all work together in the end. So, but you need to work. Like, there's no other way around it. Trying to cheat your way through life, you're not going to get very far. And if you do get very far, you're somewhere along the line, you're going to cheat yourself. I'm telling you right now, you're going to cheat yourself. Now, there are some exceptions where uh, people who make it out with doing just that, but we don't work here on exceptions. Okay, we don't work on anomalies or this, that, and the other. Okay, those do not get results for the majority of people. The majority of people have to do things traditionally, have to do things the way that it was taught to us how to do it, and that is to follow everything or mostly everything by the book, or have a really good guideline on it. And you gotta have faith. So you gotta believe in the end. That's where you want to be. You gotta envision yourself already there, and you gotta work your way towards that ending. So if you go to college, you want a bachelor degree in whatever field that you want to go to, you gotta put in the work. Okay, you gotta believe that this is exactly what you want to do. Now I understand that there's other factors that play. It's not just you. It's your family could be involved, your friends, or whoever else is in your life, mentor, coaches, whoever plays a big role in your life and in your decisions. It's not, you feel like it's not just you making the decisions, but it's also you having that expectation and not, excuse me, having that expectation from your peers or family, having that expectation from them, and then not wanting to let them down. But listen here, it is your life, it is your choice to make these decisions. So you got to do what is best for you. Like, it is something that is so important because you do not want to go down the wrong path. There is a lot of stories that I've seen throughout the years, even just growing up, just how, like, if you make the quote unquote wrong choice, it can devastate you. Now, like I said, I don't want to go into what is right and wrong because that's subjective. Because we don't know what's right and wrong for somebody. Everybody's different. Everybody has slightly different expressions. So, what may be wrong for you could be right for somebody else. It really just depends on your lifestyle, your upbringing, and this, that, and the other. Um, but I will say, um, when it comes to making choices, you got to take risks with the intention of knowing that's where you want to be. That's the path that you wanted to choose. That's the route that you wanted to choose. And you wholeheartedly believe that you wanted to choose that because you made the decision yourself and not being peer pressured by anybody else. Okay? So I've seen plenty of videos of motivational speakers saying take risks, make mistakes, this, that, and the other. Everybody's gonna make mistakes somewhere along the line, but take risks is just a little too broad for me. Um, when you take risks, I want you to there's levels to taking risks. You got low level, mid level, high level. Now some people may just only choose low level, but who knows if they have will grow from that. If you take a nice amount, that can give you a set of challenges, but it's not crazy enough or it's not extreme enough for you to feel like it's gonna affect your life tremendously or or sway it a different way that you never thought of. And there is a bit of unpredictability with taking chances, with taking risks, but that should be all fine if you see it through. Now, high level risk, extreme risk, depends on the person, their lifestyle, upbringing, and all that. Like I said before, it really depends because we're all different, slightly different expressions. We all gotta find what works best for us, and we gotta take that time to get to know ourselves and what we actually want in this life. Pretty much what your passion, what's your purpose. But there's multiple purposes out here, so you can't just I can't just only keep it to one singular purpose because there's multiple. Anybody can have multiple purposes on here, can fulfill multiple purposes while they are here. So you got to take calculated risks. All right, so look, when y'all gotta take risks, you gotta take risks that are worth it, that are worth fulfilling whatever you're trying to fulfill in this life for you, for yourself, or if you want to fight for other, where take risks for others because that's the type of person you are. That's fine too. Just make sure that you're always making sure that you're good and that it doesn't mess you up financially, mentally, whatever the case may be. Physically, you don't want to be in harm's way. You don't want to be in a really extreme situation. You just got to figure out what's good for you. I know this world is crazy. There's a lot of crazy people in it. So you got to tread carefully because there are a lot of scams out here. And for some reason, scammers, they're very creative. They are very creative in in what they do. But the problem is they're scamming poor people. Like why? Like, but a lot of them are broke. But that's gonna be another episode where I talk about scammers in depth and everything that comes with it. Trust me, I've dealt with my few share of scammers, and I learned from it now. Now I feel like I do not have time to waste with them no more. So everything that doesn't feel right or feels wrong, uh, yeah, it's gonna be another episode. I got to make a whole another note about that. But yes, these scammers are out here scamming the poor with all that creativity they have to scam the poor. They could be making the best decisions for their life. They should not be messing with us. Leave us alone. Leave the working class alone, man. Leave us alone. We're trying to make life better for ourselves. Leave us alone. Okay, so you gotta be careful with a lot of these scammers. But I will give you a little excerpt into these since this is the best route. Stay away from them scammers because they end up messing you up. They can mess you up financially. You can ruin your relationship with a bank. They can what really ruin your relationship with family or whoever whatever the case may be. Just stay away from them. You gotta recognize, identify who they are, where they are. Don't let nobody strange come up to you in a place that is not a social gathering. And even if it is a social gathering, keep that thing in the back of your mind. Like maybe if you don't like it, if you're uncomfortable, if it sounds too good to be true, it most likely is. That's what they tell you. That's what they say, and they're usually on the point with that. So you gotta be able to think about that and really analyze it and really apply it to your life because you know personally, if I had to deal with a bunch of scammers, and sometimes I wasn't in the best mindset at the time, but you really gotta be on go mode. Like even if you're chilling or you're relaxed, you just want to have a good day. There's gonna be that unpredictableness that sets in, and you just gotta be ready for it. Even if you don't feel like you're having the best of days, you still gotta be ready for it. Put up your guard as soon as you feel like something isn't right. Put up your guard. Say no, thank you. Say that's it. Walk away. It should not ever get to an extreme point. If it does, do whatever you can to survive. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, that's enough about them right now. Like I said, that's gonna be an in-depth episode of its own. But right now, we gotta talk about. We still talking about taking risks. All of this comes back to taking the best route for yourself, having the faith to put in the work. Like, oh my, like this is what we want to do. This is what I want to do for my life. What's the best route for my life? Honestly, just to stay true to myself and not like letting anybody get in my head about what I really want to do. Um, like I want to travel. That's the best route for me. It's to travel around the world and see the world. That's always something I always wanted to do. And now like I'm working towards that and I'm gonna have faith and I'm definitely gonna be traveling this year. It's 2024 and I definitely will travel more. And that's exactly what I'm going to do because last year I didn't even get to do that. Now I feel like I'm in a position to where I can do that. And I'm definitely going to put myself in a situation. I'm definitely going to get all the information that I need to get. I'm definitely going to look out and be cautious and, make sure everything, is going according to plan. And if it doesn't, you know what? You got to switch it up on the fly if it ever switches up on its own. So you got to be ready for that unpredictability, or you got to be ready for. But for the most part, generally, you should be fine. If you have a plan that you stick to it, you should be fine. Like everything isn't always a high level risk. Okay, like I said, there's levels to risk, And low level risks are generally safer to go with. You just got to be able to identify them. Don't just be out here just trying to put so much into one extreme situation that you don't really have any room left for any of the other risks that you need to take. You know, everything is not an extreme level, high level risk that is going to immediately have a positive effect or a negative effect depending on which way that it goes, depending on the outcome. But listen, just stay true to yourself. Understand, like, what do you really want to do in this life, and start working towards it. I get it, sometimes it is hard, and a lot of those emotions weigh in on what you really want to do. But at the end of the day, you said you wanted to do this. You got to follow it through. So if you said you was going to, let's just for example say that you were going to um say you was going to do something for like a year. Let's just put an easy one out there. Let's just say you was gonna paint for like a year. You may have not liked painting in some of those moments throughout that year, but guess what? You got to follow through with it. You said that's something you want to do. If it doesn't have a requirement of how long you want to do it, you set a requirement. Don't just quit on the first day. That's not a real goal. That's not really a choice that it's a choice that you made, but it's not really something that builds up discipline. And that's discipline is definitely going to get you through that year of painting. You got to have discipline even on days that you really don't want to do it. If you say you're going to paint for a year, and if you want to break it down, maybe let's say you want to paint uh, every 3 days a week, like 3 days a week for a whole year. You got to stick to that 3 days a week, even if that day and you don't feel like the best mood, or you don't, you're kind of under the weather, you should still be able to get up and do it. Now of course we got to leave the room for like extreme cases of if you're like really sick, or if there's an emergency or something like that that you have to handle at work or with family or whatever the case may be. Okay, there's room for grace for that. You know, there's room for compassion for that, and you shouldn't feel bad because it's something that you had to immediately prioritize over something that you set yourself. That's okay. But generally, you should be able to get your goals accomplished, or whatever you set forth to want to do for a certain amount of time. You can get that done. And that's why we got to be a lot careful with our choices, because if it's something we really want to do, we really got to put the time and effort into it. Like, I get it. Life can hit can have a very nasty turn that can affect our lives immensely. You gotta stick to it, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how good it gets, no matter if you're feeling it or not feeling it, whatever the case may be. You set something, you do it. That is discipline. That is going to get things done, and that's going to take you to the next level of your life, of whatever you want to do. Because the people who do not get those things done, they end up quitting, and then they just end up someplace that they don't want to be because they never really did it. Now there are things where you tried something out and it doesn't work out, and it's okay because, well, it wasn't for you, but you wanted to try it, and that's fine, because that's what it's all about anyways. Because if you don't have something that you're out the gate with, like this is something you've been born into, or you have a natural talent for something, that's fine. A natural talent that you worked on, and now you've taken that to the next level, that's fine. If you don't have that natural talent right then and there, you can come into it later on. But it all depends on what you really want to do. I guess there's a lot of people that settle for things that that really does not make them happy, and that has a lot to do with the greater good of society. But like I said, not going to do that this episode. We can get into that, and how our choices, our individual choices, plays a part into the greater good of society. Trust me, I got so many episode ideas. Trust me. Just wait on that. That's gonna be a good one. Trust me, just like this one is. So yeah, we all got choices. We all got risks to take. This is what we do. This is how we evolve as a human race. It's how we well, oh, sorry, that's speaking to the greater good, but this is how we evolve as people in our individualistic natures. Okay, this is how we get better for ourselves. Okay, this is how we take ourselves to the next level. This is how we evolve. Well, since I am speaking in plural, this is how we evolve as people. Um, yeah, so we got to take those risks, but they have to be calculated. They have to take into account what we want, what we don't want, and we got to leave some room for some unpredictability. So we got to figure these things out. And a lot of people, and it has to do with a lot of planning, you know, some level of organization. It could be a basic level of organization at least, but some people do not take the time to do that because they're so worried about paying bills. And this is another thing I wanted to touch on. Some people, not everybody's here to work. Some people, like I said in the beginning, are here to work to make money to pay bills. Some people are just here because money. I don't get that because everybody's here to work to live, but some people are here to work to pay bills. So, or some people are here to work just so that they can flaunt money. I will never be a part of those two categories at all because I'm here to live. I want to live a well thought out life. You know, I want to experience a lot of new things, and I have been. And you know, I don't want to stay cooped up one place because naturally I am a traveler. Like I would love to travel to all these different kinds of places and experience all different type of cultures and dishes, and culinary dishes, and um just a lot of other things that the world wants you to see, and knowledge and people across the world. That's really what I want to do. That's the route for me. That is the best route for me, and that's exactly what I want to do. That's the best thing that I want to do. So it's like I think with everything that's going on in the world, the best route for me is just to work towards being a traveler, a world traveler. I want to go to all different kinds of places. That's really what I want to do. And with the choices that I'm making in my life, I'm putting myself in a position to be able to do that, working with everything else. So I can't really stay stuck somewhere, or stay stuck in one place, or stay stuck in one job that does not allow me to be able to do that, to freely travel the world. And I need to freely, like, that's what I want to do. That's what I feel like I'm here to do, to learn, to experience, and to make the world a better place. Because I'm not just saying only for an individualistic place, but since this is, like I said before, I'm gonna keep reminding myself and keep reminding y'all that I'm gonna stay on topic. It's not about the greater good right now, but ultimately that's what it leads to. But yeah, this is the choice that I want to make, and this is the choice I want to have. So this is exactly what I want to do with everything that's going on. So, you know, I think everybody needs to be able to look within themselves. Look within yourselves to find that spark, that interest of what you want to do with your life, the best thing of your lifestyle. It doesn't matter where you've been, it doesn't matter where you are right now. If it's something you really truly want to do, then you go out and do it. You may not have all the answers right then and there, but guess what? Just start moving towards it. Start looking for the answer. You have most people right now on the earth have a supercomputer in their pocket. It can be low end supercomputer, or it can be a high end supercomputer, somewhere mid-range level supercomputer, but everybody has a supercomputer in their hands that has access to the internet. At least most people do now. A lot of people do have this type of access to it. So the best thing for us to do is to find the information. If we do not have it right then and there, we have a supercomputer that can instantly get into the world's database, which is the World Wide Web, to find these things because they are readily available for us to read and to be able to apply to our own lives. So honestly, I just feel like there's no excuse for that. So the best route for you, what route do you want to take? What do you want to look at? What do you want to be? What exactly are you trying to do? What are you trying to do with your life? You really got to ponder that. And I know sometimes you got to weigh in all the emotions, but you always got to, you do not let the all the emotions rule over, because at the end of the day you got to make that choice. You got to make a choice. That's something that's going to propel you to the next level, or that's going to feed into however you want to live in this world. Okay, how do you want to be remembered? If you want to be remembered, how do you want to affect this world? How do you want to affect yourself? How do you want to affect everything around you? What do you want? Like what kind of impact do you want to have, if any at all? Like these are things that you should be pondering about, you know. I get it. People just want, some people, most people just want a good chunk of people, I should say, just want to live life comfortably, just want to have a good job and have some money, and then, you know, just experience whatever's already out here now in the world. That's beautiful. That's fine. Some people want to go a different route. And you know, some people want to go a different route from that. Some people just want to make the most money that they possibly can. Okay, that's fine too. Some people just may not want to make any money at all. They just want to be, well, depending on where you're at, you may not need no money, like the way how a capitalistic society may need it. So you may have to look, if you live in a capitalistic society but you don't want to really use money to live in a capitalistic society, then you just got to find a society that doesn't have that hyper capitalistic nature embedded within that particular society. And that's mainly the biggest countries and, you know, places to be. They usually have a capitalistic nature. So that's pretty much what you got to think about. If that's the route that you want to take, the route that you want to take is going to be what it is. And honestly, do what's best for you, whatever route that you want to take in your life. And this is has nothing, it can include all this other stuff that I was talking about with dating, with helping the greater good, but this is not what this episode is about. It's about mainly individualism. Okay, so what do you want to do with your life? If you want your life to be a missionary, if you want to help people all across the world or just in your area, go ahead and do that. Okay, even if you don't have a supercomputer in your pocket, there's public libraries. You can find some access to information in a lot of places, even in deserts, even where places where it seems like there's not much of anything going on at all, but there should be a place of where you can find resources to find that knowledge. Okay, most places have those. Most cities have those. If you have to drive there, if you have to walk there, run there, if you have the bike there, you know, scooter, skateboard, you know, however you want to get there, you can get and find those resources. A lot of libraries are open to the public, and you can usually sign up with them and have your amount of time to look up this information. You just got to be willing to put in that work. And a lot of people want stuff handed to them, and that's just not how you're going to get the best of life, is getting everything handed to you. You got to do these things yourself. That's how you learn how to do things properly, when you have the natural curiosity or want to be able to do it yourself, because nobody's going to teach that to you. You got to be able to find that out for yourself. You got to figure it out for yourself. And you got to figure out how you're going to want to do this. Yes, you got mentors and coaches and this, that, and the other that can help people, but they can only take you so far if you're not willing to do it yourself. And that's what it all comes back down to, is self. You got to be able to understand how to do that, and you got to be able to learn what you need in order to take your life to the next level, or whatever place that you feel like you want to achieve, because it doesn't always have to be the upper echelon of living. You know, some people just want a comfy, cozy, minimalistic life, or somewhere in the middle, wherever, whichever you feel comfortable in. But there will be a level of uncomfortability in life that you have to deal with. Okay, I'm dealing with it as well, but I am rolling with it. I got to roll with it, even if I don't feel like it may be the best or it's just uncomfortable. I get it, but you got to follow through on it, and that's exactly what I'm willing to do to get to where I need to go. I'm not pulling no punches on 2024. This is what we call a Kobe year. And honestly, there's the Kobe year, which is this year, a lot of people call it, and then there's the Kobe year for there's two Kobe years for let me see, for from your age. So that's 8 and 24. Obviously, like many children ain't really thinking about what they're doing while they're 8 years old. They're still kind of in, in their own heads and stuff like that, at least for in a general amount. But 24, if you're 24 right now, you should have a good amount of, knowledge and experience on the world right now to see that you can make the choice to go out great. But I mean, I guess not everybody is a Kobe fan. Obviously, he was hated, he was booed in a lot of cities, and until he left, now apparently he gets a lot of praise. But that, like I said, we're not gonna go and delve into other episodes. But yeah, the best choice is for me, Kobe was a big influence on my life. I watched him ever since I was so young, like super young, and he's always like he's my favorite basketball player of all time, and my favorite role model of all time. Like I really RIP to Kobe Bean Bryant, man. I really was shocked and still am shocked that he's no longer with us. Yeah, I really, and rest in peace to GG as well, because it was just a really big tragedy on that day that I just still feel like I can't wrap my mind around. But I just thought he was untouchable. I just really thought I was gonna meet him one day here on Earth. But I'm starting to stray away from what I'm trying to say. But let me take it back to choices. So do what's best for you. You guys stay hydrated. You guys stay safe. Stay on your path. I know your path is going to come with a lot of trials and challenges. It's going to test you how well you can stay on your path, and sometimes you might just barely come out by like by like the leather on your shoes or whatever, or the skin of your teeth, just by a thread. Yeah, there you go. By a single thread, and you're trying to bounce it out, or might come out of whatever situation or challenge wobbling or a little tripped up. That's fine, as long as you know that you made it out and that you're stronger for it and that you can move on. But you guys, like I said, stay safe, stay hydrated, keep going, stay on that path. With that path will come challenges, and it's up to you to conquer them. It's up to you to be able to learn from those experiences, learn from those challenges, and to make yourself a better human being, to make yourself a better person, and also to evolve into something that you always wanted to be, which means being your highest self, being the best you, wherever that may be, wherever that may take you, or wherever you've gone through for you to reach that, the pinnacle of who you are. Always aspire to be just that. All right. And with that, I'd say to you guys on this lovely Friday, it's a beautiful Friday. Have a great weekend, y'all. And I'm out of here. See ya.